It is 12 noon. We will talk to Nick Kelly from AL.com coming up momentarily. We'll get his thoughts on fall camp for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Scrimmage number 1 in the books on Saturday morning. Earlier in the program, we talked to Jason Campbell from Auburn Undercover. So if you missed that interview, you can go back and download the Three Man Front podcast and listen to what Jason had to say in regards to Auburn's scrimmage on Friday, some recruiting news, and some other odds and ends for the Auburn football program. Preseason AP Top 25 poll came out about an hour ago. The Texas Longhorns, number 1, according to the AP. Penn State 2, Ohio State 3, Clemson 4, Georgia 5. Bama comes in the exact same spot they did in the preseason coaches poll, which is preseason number 8. Auburn did not garner enough votes to be ranked in the top 25. They would be ranked 37th if you carried out the total of votes. So that's where we stand at this hour in regards to what's going on in the wonderful world of college football.
Yeah, I don't know, going back to Auburn, how if people actually get offended or put off by these polls. Look, I know that some people do, but for a team that went 6-7 and 5-7 in the last 2 seasons, know that there's a lot there that could happen. But at this point, from the administration, from the fans to the AP and the coaches, voters, Pat, you got to prove it on the field.
No, you absolutely do. And it's nothing but a motivation factor.
Sure.
Moving forward. I was looking down the entire list of the 65 voters for the Associated Press preseason poll, and it looks like there's about 3 or 4 that voted Alabama second. You had Javon Edmonds. He voted Alabama number 2 in his preseason poll.
Javon Edmonds. I'm writing these down.
Keep going. I'm not sure. I do not have his affiliation.
I'll find him.
Wait, is that my boy from Albuquerque?
No. He was the only person in America that voted Alabama number 2.
I like that guy even more.
Number 3, you had a host of folks, including Ralph Russo from The Athletic. He voted Alabama number 3. He was on our program last week discussing things. Let's see who else.
Javon covers Syracuse.
Okay, so upstate New Yorker thinks that Alabama's number 2 in America in the preseason. Also, you had a writer from the Albuquerque newspaper. He's got Alabama at number 3.
Who is this?
Sean Reeder, Reider.
All right.
So
he's legit, Landrum, don't worry.
So one person
looking at him,
had Alabama at number 2 preseason. 2 voters had Alabama at 3. Nicole Auerbach, I see, she had Alabama at 9. Bob Ballou from CBS Austin, he voted Alabama 13. Just kind of looking through the list. All right. Our next guest, Nick Kelly, covers the Alabama Crimson Tide. He joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Nick, I hope you're doing well. We're just going over the AP preseason top 25. Anything jump out at you, the list that you saw earlier this morning?
Well, I didn't vote on it, so you guys can't dox me for my vote.
No, we would not do that to you.
Well, it's always out. That's the thing. I did the AP poll at one point, and it's you hear from those random fans because as you guys know, the polls are made public, and I remember I upset the St. Bonaventure fans one time. They were all on my emails, mentions, DMs. It's pretty crazy, but. To answer your question, what stood out to me, maybe Alabama's a little low, but I'm not surprised. I mean, they're 3rd among SEC teams in the poll, just like they were in the media preseason poll. So it's not shocking, but I'm going to be surprised if Alabama is as low as 8 by the season end.
Yeah, good point. Nick Kelly joins us from AL.com talking Alabama football. So the scrimmage took place on Saturday. Your intel, the people that you talked to around that program, were they pleased with scrimmage number 1 under Kalen DeBoer?
Yeah, it seems like the offense is in great shape, ahead of schedule, if you will. It's one of those things where the defense a lot of times looks pretty good early on just because the offense is trying to get on the same page. But Alabama's offense came out of the gate, played really well. I mean, Kalen DeBoer said that. And the defense kind of had to wake up and catch up. So I think that was the most encouraging thing. There were a lot of fans who got a little worried that seeing there were no interceptions, what does that mean for the defensive backs? But we know the defensive backs are going to be solid. I mean, it's a good secondary. I'm not worried about that. To me, that was such a good sign for the quarterbacks that they are taking care of the football. They aren't making many mistakes. So the offense is in a good spot.
Nick, how, based on what you've seen, reports and people you've talked to, how has Ty Simpson elevated his game?
Yeah, I think you just hear about him being poised and crisp and clean and just the way that he goes about playing. And that's kind of all the small things that coaches want. And I think that he's doing that well. And I think that he's been consistent in that way. He's been reliable. He's looked like the veteran that he is. And I think that goes a long way because this offense in a lot of ways is just, hey, this is an awfully nice sports car. Just make sure you keep it on the road. Just keep it going in the right direction. It really is just one of those. I mean, they have so much talent and so many guys that you just need a guy who can kind of steer the ship and keep it on schedule. And I think that Ty is showing that he's got the ability to do that. And that's what they need more than anything. I mean, of course, it's nice when you can throw a pretty football or that you can make some spectacular plays. And I think he's capable of that. But I think more than anything, they need a guy who's just solid, and I think he has shown that, and he's shown he can be consistent, which is what they've wanted from him.
And speaking of the offense, all indications are that the wide receiver room with Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, now Isaiah Horton coming in from Miami, and also a name that I've got a lot of people tell me this name to keep your eye on is Rico Scott, that he has had a really good fall camp so far. Your impressions so far from the wideout position at Alabama?
Yeah, it's stacked because the surprising thing to me, guys, is you mentioned all those guys, and I totally agree that they're all going to have a good season. But a guy that multiple observers told me about after the scrimmage on Saturday was Cole Adams. He made some plays. And now I think it was maybe more with the twos potentially than it was the top group. But, I mean, here's another guy who's in the mix that is trying to make sure that people don't forget about him. So they've got all sorts of options. Another one, Derek Meadows, the freshman. I mean, he's 6'5", and he's got some speed. I mean, you can use a guy like that. So, yeah, you have the top three for sure, and Rico Scott's probably that fourth. But they've got a lot of good options and different guys who can do different things. And so I'm going to be so fascinated, I should say, to see how they use that group of receivers.
We know the offensive line highly heralded heading into the season by most publications, Nick. But if there is a weak spot on that offensive line, where would it be?
Yeah, I think you want to see it more from Wilkin Formby at the right tackle spot. I think he's going to be improved. Everything I've heard is that he's better. But I think that a lot of fans still are a little bit scarred by what he did against South Florida. But I think he's come a long way from that, and he's improved a lot from that. So I'm really eager to see what he can do, but I need to see it from him too. He's got to prove it kind of thing to make sure that spot is shored up, but I think he can do that. So that's a question mark I have, but I'm not too worried. Otherwise at guard, just seeing how that works out, how they play. I'm high on Cam Dewberry. I think obviously Jaden Roberts is a super strong guy with experience, and even Geno Vandermark brings a lot too, but I'm curious to kind of see how that plays out because he did lose arguably the best player on last year's roster in Tyler Booker. And you have to replace that. And I think they'll be fine, but those are probably the two spots that I maybe have questions about, but I'm not overly worried.
Nick Kelly joins us from AL.com, covers the Alabama Crimson Tide, joins us on the Higginbotham hotline here on this Monday after the first scrimmage from Saturday. So all indications, no turnovers during the scrimmage for the Alabama offense on Saturday. Kalen DeBoer in his post-scrimmage press conference mentioned that there's only been 3 during all of fall camp. Does that mean the offense is at a really high efficient clip, or is that a problem on the defensive side because Kane Womack's group is not being able to force those turnovers?
Yeah, they want those takeaways. So if they're not getting them, they're hearing it from Kane. But again, I just think that Alabama's secondary is going to be good. I'm not worried about it. They've proven they can be good. They'll be back. Most of the guys are back. It's just a matter of, for the quarterbacks, if they're not turning it over, if they're keeping the football in a safe place and not playing losing football, if you will, that's a great sign, especially this early in camp relative to how many camp. They're about halfway done now with camp practices. And the fact that they've minimized turnovers that much, that's a huge sign, because I don't think that this offense is going to have to carry the team on its back and just hope that they can outscore a team 50-45 or something like that. the defense should be pretty solid. So if you can just not put the defense in bad spots and put them, up against their own 20 off a turnover, that helps a lot. So I think folks should be really encouraged by where the quarterbacks are in terms of taking care of the football.
Outside of Ryan Williams, who do you believe is going to be the most productive at that position this season?
Oh, man, I keep going back and forth because Isaiah Horton is the exciting kind of new toy, so to speak, for the offense, and I think he's going to have a great season. But don't sleep on Jeremy Bernard. He's not as maybe electric as a Ryan Williams or even this new guy, Isaiah Horton, but he's reliable as it gets. I mean, he only had, I believe, 2 drops last year per Pro Football Focus. And he also he's got solid hands. He was more productive post-Georgia than Ryan Williams was. And I think folks kind of forget about that just because Ryan Williams has all the attention. But Jeremy's a really reliable receiver and just a good, solid option. So I don't know. I kind of go back and forth between those two. But I really we might see a repeat of that Washington team in year 3 or in year 2 for DeBoer, where I think they had 3 receivers, put up some pretty big numbers. So I could see that again this year.
So some of the reports I was getting on Saturday was the first half of practice, the offensive line did very well holding their own, against the defensive line. But in the second half of the scrimmage, I was told the defensive line started finally making some noise. Any concerns from your point of view in regards to what you've heard from the defensive interior for Alabama?
I don't know that I'm concerned. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what they can do. I think they need to step up there. I'm not sure about the depth on the interior, but I am eager to see a guy like Jeremiah Beeman, see what he can do in year 2. I've heard some good things about him. See how he kind of fills in with a Tim Keenan type and really a Kelby Collins, the Florida transfer. Where does he fit in and what can he do is another guy that I'm watching. So I think so much of this team right now, guys, to me, it's not a concern. It's more of just, I don't know yet. And I attended school in the show me state. So it's, you got to show me kind of deal. So I'm really curious to see what that interior can do. The only position that I'm really worried about is special teams at this point, but I do have questions about a lot of other positions.
Well, that was where I was going to go next, because I know that's not the sexy conversation that fans want to talk about. They want to talk about the offense. They want to talk about the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running back, but the kicking game. And that's an area that potentially, as Auburn found out last year, without that reliable kicker, all of a sudden you're talking about a team that potentially could vie for a college football playoff berth is now struggling to maybe even make a bowl game. Where does it currently stand with the field goal kicking and the punting situation in Alabama?
Yeah, I wish I could give you a certain answer that I feel confident about something, but I just don't at this juncture. I don't think that it's not that they don't have the guys that could develop into that, but I'm just not certain about it. And yeah, I am wondering what it's going to look like. And can a Connor Talty at kicker, can he step into that field goal kicker role and do well? I mean, he was a solid guy in kickoffs last year, but we just don't know what he's going to be like as a field goal kicker. And then at punter, I mean, folks took James Burnett for granted to an extent because he became so automatic and just trustworthy. They forgot how, when you don't have good punting, how bad that can look. And it can be a 10-yard shank of a punt. And next thing you know, the offense or the opposing offense has the ball on your own 30. So yeah, I don't know that I'm panicking about it, guys, but I also don't feel good about it right now if I'm an Alabama fan. So I need to see answers there, and we'll be interested to see how that progresses throughout the season.
That is Nick Kelly. You can follow his work at al.com. Nick, always great to catch up. Should be a fun rest of the week with the second scrimmage coming up on Saturday. We appreciate it as always.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. That is Nick Kelly joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. All of our guests join us on that hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, Nick said right now he doesn't feel great about Alabama special teams. You want to feel great, you want to look great, you can do it at Mandu right there in downtown Homewood. Mandu is electrical muscle stimulation fitness. It's all FDA approved, and it's a 15-minute workout that you're going to get results from. And without going into all of the technology and the electric pulses that go to various parts of your body, it works. That's why many people started Mandu and they've continued with Mandu, because you get results. 15-minute workout, the equivalent to 6 hours in a gym because of that technology. Your first visit is free and they'll put you in the workout. Go to Mandu, MANDUU.com. Tell Paul and the gang that Landrum from Jock sent you.
We'll go over the AP preseason top 25 poll that came out about an hour ago. Where does Alabama and the rest of the SEC stack up against the rest of college football? That's next on Three Man Front. Well, one thing's for sure about the AP preseason top 25 poll, the voters believe in parity. Think about this. So you got 10 SEC teams in the top 25, 6 in the Big Ten. Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, and Oregon all received first-place votes. It's the first time since 2016 that at least 6 teams received first-place votes in the preseason AP poll. 6 different teams. Pretty amazing. Also, we pointed this out a little bit earlier. LSU, Oklahoma, Florida, and Mississippi State, they have more top 25 teams on their upcoming schedule, which is 7 for each of those teams. Then Penn State and Indiana play combined. Those 2 teams combined, they play 6. So there you go. So 1 SEC team, or actually, you've got 4 SEC teams that play 7 ranked opponents alone on their schedule. But the Big Ten, they've got to combine 2 teams to get to 6 teams in the top 25. Just saying.
I just like you pointing out all the.
Well, I'm not seeing Kurt Signetti and Brett Bielema have an impromptu press conference at their practices talking about how great the Big Ten is, or Rhett Lashley having a press conference in the Metroplex talking about the SEC not having much depth.
I'm going to be real pissed when I see the video of John Gruden at Penn State talking about how much he'd love to coach in the Big Ten.
I mean, Rhett Lashley was on this radio station last week. Did he crow about the ACC being better than the SEC? Did I miss that?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't? Okay. I was just double-checking, make sure I didn't miss something.
Well, he might be trying to stay in the good favor of some people in this state.
Yeah, because if Hugh Freeze is bounced out, I'm sure he wants the Auburn job. So, there you go.
Well, he's always said he wanted to work in a top-heavy conference.
Are we just going to ignore the elephant in the room and what Nick Kelly just told us about special teams? I could see it in your face.
Oh, Connor Talty, it all relies on you. And that magical right leg, left leg, I don't know what he is, but
I think he's right leg.
One of the legs.
Connor, our advice to you after covering several Alabama teams that had kicking woes, don't put your address out there.
Don't be a Griffith. Don't be a Papanostis.
Come up with a cool alias.
Be a Reichard.
Yep.
Maybe not a Nicholson.
Don't let anybody follow you on social media.
No. I do agree with one of the things Nick said, though. I do think that, players like James Burnup or J.K. Scott, you take those guys for granted because you don't understand how valuable they are until you have a guy back there that can't do what they do. And you realize very quickly how the field possession game and things of that nature, just how important it is to have some of those guys. So, yeah, hopefully it's a big juxtaposition from what we're hearing from Auburn where, okay, maybe there's some other concerns, but at least special teams has been lights out for them. And that was a big problem last year, and you brought that up of.
We've seen teams lose because of the lack of being able to kick field goals and hold tryouts that Monday of practice.
Yep. Didn't Arizona State do that last year?
I think Lane Kiffin has done it.
Yeah.
Maybe not after a loss, but I can remember the comment about the frat house.
They tried to get a soccer player, right? I think.
And it was so weird. I would go on radio shows around the country talking about Alabama during the Nick Saban era. And this was before Will Reichert kind of stabilized that because he was there for like 8 years.
Yeah.
As Alabama's kicker. But it was like, how in the world can Alabama recruit at the ridiculous level that they recruit every single year
and not find a kicker?
And they don't have a kicker. Like, what in the world? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's bizarre to us, too, that do a radio show in Birmingham, Alabama. We have no idea what is going on there, but it's real.
And then some of the schools that you see that aren't very good.
Oh, they got a kicker.
Can't recruit out of their own city, but they have a kicker that's on. I'll stop there. They have a kicker.
And let's just be honest. After Will Reichert finally graduated, and then you go steal a kicker from Miami of Ohio
in the middle of the night.
And he kicked like 6 field goals last year.
Against his will.
And he wasn't.
No, he wasn't very good.
No.
And he had won the award as the best kicker in the country the year before.
Which was weird.
Yeah, because Reichert should have won it. But.
Yeah, Reichert should have won it the year before. I mean, that kid was like 140 soaking wet.
Yeah, so DeBoer was like, "Hey, let's go grab this kid out of his dorm room in the middle of the night."
Well, the odd thing too, you talk about how you could never find a kicker. Like they would regularly bring in guys that were very highly recruited, very highly rated, and they were just bust every single time.
It's a curse.
It really was for the longest time.
No, I think it still is.
Oh, it still is? Okay.
So Greg McElroy, a teammate on Mac and Cube in the morning here on this radio station, he was quoted this morning, "I'm a little concerned about special teams, if I'm going to be completely honest."
Okie dokie. No, it's a thing.
So you just heard Nick Kelly talking about it. Greg McElroy mentioned it this morning. And Greg was there. He was in attendance with his children watching the game on Saturday.
Maybe that's why they worked on that last 7 seconds of a game thing. It's like bomb plays from the 35-yard line.
Grave
diggers.
Yep.
Yeah, just a bunch of grave diggers.
Every single play, grave digger. Well,
really hope we're not relying on that this year.
It's like what happened to Auburn last year. It's not an excuse. It's the facts that if Auburn would have had a better field goal kicker last year, Auburn probably would have found themselves with, let's be honest, a couple of wins and probably going bowling and maybe a completely different conversation you're having about Auburn this year.
There were games that they won where the kicking wasn't good.
Yeah.
And there's just an unfortunate situation with, somebody getting a very rare and serious illness and having to battle with that, at least that,
because
can't do anything about that.
You can go back to even the Eddie Gran, Tommy Tuberville years when Gran was the recruiting coordinator. It's hard to find a year where Auburn wasn't pretty solid. Not only in special teams, but in place kicker. And
I feel like Auburn and LSU are the two programs I think of in the SEC where it's like, don't really ever have to worry about the special teams. They have a factory. They have a pipeline.
My favorite kicker quote was back when Gene Stallings was the coach. I remember him coming on our program one day, and Paul was asking him about special teams because something had happened, and Stallings was telling the story of how at the very beginning of camp that the kicker was a rock star. He was hitting everything. And so then all of a sudden Stallings comes and starts standing behind the kicker, just watching him kick, and he couldn't hit anything. And he was like, "What's going on, son? Why weren't you hitting these field goals?" He turned around and looked at Coach Stallings, and he said, "Well, Coach, I can't kick with you standing right behind me." He goes, "Well, son, what are you going to do when there's 95,000 people at Legion Field yelling and screaming at you and you're kicking? I'm going to be there."
Kicking's weird, man, because you remember there was Aguayo, the kid from Florida State, who was, one of the best college kickers we'd ever seen. Then he goes to the NFL, can't hit a kick to save his life. It's all mental. Or a lot of it.
A lot of Steve Sachs kickers, Chuck Knobloch, all of a sudden they can't throw from second base to first base.
I witnessed a kid last year at the end of the season. It was heartbreaking, but
the yips.
A guy that was solid. He was up for all of the awards all year long. He had a straight 35-yard in the middle of the hashes field goal, kicks it, misses it. Luckily, there's a player offside. He gets a re-kick, and he hooks another one. Hadn't done that all season long.
I've seen numerous in high school that, and you know the rule in high school, if the ball crosses the end zone on a kickoff, it's a touchback. You can't bring it out. I cannot tell you how many just awesome kickers I've seen in high school that have just nailed it in the back of the end zone, and then you line them up for a field goal, and it can't hit nothing.
No, couldn't hit the center in the butt if he tried.
No, it's amazing. But it's like you said. You don't think they're that important until you don't have one.
Then they're real important.
Then you don't have one, and then you're going to find out real quick we're in trouble.
Might get a coach fired trouble.
Yeah.
Just because of that kicker.
Just go for it on fourth down every time. 2-point conversions.
That sheltered human being that just wanted to specialize in something, be a part of a team.
See, I think college should push it back to the NFL distance on extra points. You want to
make it a little more dramatic?
You want to talk about some crooked numbers and screwed up Vegas lines.
That's what I'm talking about.
They just asked LSU a couple years ago against Florida State.
I mean,
they couldn't hit that one that close.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I like that idea. That's fun.
Reaction Monday, we want to hear from you.
Unless it's your team that's lining up for the 35-yarder.
Correct.
1-800-239-WJOX. More three-man front on this Reaction Monday here on Jocks. We're here to take your phone calls on this Reaction Monday, 1-800-239-WJOX. If you missed our interviews, Nick Kelly from AL.com gave us the Alabama side of things. We also heard from Jason Caldwell from Auburn Undercover. You can download those interviews at the Three-Man Front podcast. Water doesn't need an invitation to find its way into your crawl space, bringing along mold, mildew, pests, and wood rot, but APS has the solution. The APS crawl space encapsulation system seals out the moisture, blocks pests, and can even help reduce your energy bills. And with added protection, your crawl space becomes usable, valuable storage space. Every home is different. That's why the engineers at APS can design a custom solution built specifically for your foundation. Call them today, 205-951-9717. Visit their website, alabamaprofessional.com. That number again, 205-951-9717. That's APS, protecting Alabama homes since 1977.
The text line is open. A lot of your reaction. We'll continue to get to the text throughout the show here on this Reaction Monday. 205-834-9450. That's the number, the best way to interact with us all season long. If you're just joining us today, maybe it's football season light just came on. Posey said, speaking of kickers, what about the 70-yarder kicked in the preseason? That was impressive.
That was awesome.
Mainly Jags, right?
Yep. Made Lane Kiffin proud, I'm sure.
Well, if you're gonna show out,
it's just unfortunate for stuff like that. Can we put that in the record book even though it's in the preseason? I mean, he still did it.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
I will try to clean this one up. Maybe stop on the depth when it comes to the SEC and the Big Ten. 10 teams in the SEC couldn't beat a sick, oldest profession known to man off a sideways toilet. Neither could 11 teams in the Big Ten. Let's not talk depth.
First off, I like how you went oldest profession in the world. That was a good descriptor. Okay, so who is he championing? I'm just confused as to what the point of because he's not a Big Ten supporter.
No, I think he's saying that if you go deep into the conference, it would be the same for the Big Ten and the SEC. They would have a hard time beating.
Gotcha.
Like the top, yeah. And I agree.
But I think we also agree.
I do.
I was about to say, yes, you could say that about teams in every conference, Kentucky, Mississippi State, let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, I think we're arguing the middle of the pack in the SEC versus the Big Ten. There's a bit of a disparity.
And we're always going to have asterisks. It could be, all right, well, it was a rain game, or they didn't have this player available, or look where that game was sandwiched, or it was a bowl game, it was meaningless. Take South Carolina, Illinois.
See, exactly. And people would love to point that out, and I would say the same thing I kind of look at Missouri, Ohio State the same way 2 years ago. It's an impressive win, great for the resume, but, Missouri beating an Ohio State team with their second string is, okay. It's cool.
We did off the air, and we will not read the text because they asked us not to, but going back to criticism of kickers and rabid, and I use rabid you're a despicable human being. And you need to do self-inventory if you're sending death threats to anyone, but especially over a special teams player or any player that doesn't make a play in a game and you're threatening their family. But that's a real thing and something that people have to endure, not only in this state but around college football.
And that is, let's be honest, one of the unfortunate side effects of things like sports gambling, where you do have people that are going to say things that are absolutely horrible because they lost out on some money on a bet, not thinking about how that actually affects somebody's personal day-to-day life. You just lost $20 and now you're threatening to go bash somebody's kneecap in. You have a problem.
Pizza Larry says, my euphemism for oldest profession is woman of
not daytime
negotiable virtue.
Okay, I never heard that one before.
Fat Joe has a question. When a college team scrimmages, for example, the scrimmage that Alabama has Saturday, the scrimmage at Auburn, is that a no-win situation? For example, if defense looks good, then they don't say, they look as good as they struggle. The offense looks good. They're wondering what's wrong. What do y'all think? Yes, I think it is. Without reading the rest of your text, Fat Joe, yes. Because talking to, we had it on the Bill Clark show last week, Thursday nights. You can hear it, see it right here on Jocks. But, yeah, you don't know situationally what's going on. What did that unit look like that day? What plays were called? What did they have at their disposal? I think there's a lot of things that we just try to connect dots to. Sometimes it's real.
Yeah, and let's be honest, without seeing it with your own two eyes, it can be hard to decipher a lot of those things. But like an example from this weekend, right? Okay, we hear Kalen DeBoer talk about, earlier on the scrimmage, defensive line didn't look good, but then they stopped Alabama from scoring on the first drive. Well, they stopped Alabama from scoring on the first drive because Daniel Hill dropped a pass from Ty Simpson, right? So otherwise that would be a touchdown, and maybe you have a little bit different perspective on it. So it's one of those things where it's a good job they got a stop, but why did they get a stop? Because somebody else didn't execute and do their job.
I won't say the practice of the team, but I went to one of those that I was privy to get invited to go and watch, and afterwards I said, this guy right here, oh my goodness, coach, why have we not heard about him, seen him? He's amazing. He's like, that guy does not have get out of the rain sense. That's the only play he knows. I don't know how much longer he's going to be here. And my takeaway was just from watching, this guy's the next Walter Payton. Just an example of you. If you're not there for it every day, yes, sometimes it can be deceiving.
Well, the other thing that came out of the Alabama camp on Saturday is Ty Simpson looked really, really good. And I know people were asking Kalen DeBoer about the quarterback situation. Can we play cut 4 real quick, Conrad? Cut 4. This is a Kalen DeBoer after the scrimmage about the quarterback situation and when he's going to name QB1.
I feel like we're getting closer. I would have said before camp, we definitely got to make a decision by the time we get done with the second scrimmage, and I would anticipate for sure that being the case. And we'll see kind of how the next few days go. But it's two good showings, I think, especially by Austin and Ty again today, and again Keelan making the progress we'd hope for. You can see what his ceiling is going to be. It's just a matter of more reps.
I know this is not breaking news, but Ty Simpson's your starting quarterback.
No.
I mean, I think it's already been communicated to him. Hadn't been communicated to us.
I'm going to have to change my fantasy team name. It was going to be Keelan DeBoer.
Kalen DeBose?
Last year it was Jalen DeBoer.
So let me ask you this. So going into the spring, do you believe it was a legitimate open competition?
No.
Okay. So at no point do you think it was actually...
No, I don't.
Okay, there you go.
I will tell you
so
this.
You're saying they never had a chance. That's exactly what we're saying.
They lied to keep them on campus.
If you want to ask me who's improved the most from spring until fall camp, it's Austin Mack. He has come very far. But Ty Simpson's your starting quarterback.
But you feel, let's say, and again, this is the last thing you want, but let's say, Ty gets a boo-boo at some point, Austin Mack has to come in. You feel like there's a lot of confidence that he can run the offense.
They feel very confident on what the scheme is and what they're running, that any of the three quarterbacks,
it's going to be fine.
They feel like that they will be able to matriculate down the field. Now, who's the best of the three? Ty Simpson.
There's not some massive drop-off.
But they feel so good about what they have offensively, and with Ryan Grubb in there, they feel really good.
You're up 55-0 on Vanderbilt this year.
They're pushing it to 7.
Third quarter.
They're throwing
Austin Mack, are you throwing a bomb?
You better
first
believe
play?
it. You better believe it. You better believe it.
I think so too.
Playing inside Bryant-Denny Stadium against the team that embarrassed you last year?
I think
absolutely.
a flex by DeBoer and that staff would start Austin Mack.
I think all the players should get their ears pierced the week leading into the game.
I think that a group of Alabama players should go up to Nashville and urinate in the Vanderbilt practice facility on the field. No, they don't have an indoor practice facility, do they?
It's probably under construction.
Go into the gym. Do it there.
The Memorial Gym?
Yeah.
Like Diego Pavia did when he was at New Mexico?
Or maybe one of the just really fancy buildings they have there on campus.
They have a few of them.
Yeah.
I saw a clip over the weekend. Are they still not done with that stadium renovation?
In Nashville?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, my gosh.
It worked for them last year. They're probably like, let's keep the cranes for another year.
That's what I said. I think now it's superstitious.
I actually saw a video of some dude. It was on social media, and he was like, going, what is going on here? Like, this has been the longest stadium renovation for a stadium that seats 35,000 people he's ever seen in his life.
I saw the end zone. It looks great, but you're not going to be able to get everybody there.
I will say that end zone does look cool.
It looks really good.
The way it's tiered up.
Yeah. Almost like a ship.
Mm-hmm.
That was my idea. You go off of what Ray J has, but do it with a classier boat.
Well, Cornelius Vanderbilt was a classy individual.
Yes, he was.
Bankering down.
What was that?
What was that?
Anchor down?
Bankering down.
Anchoring down.
We had somebody this morning that was complaining that Kalen DeBoer was saying anchor down in his press conference. Is alluding to another loss to Vanderbilt.
Oh.
Somebody's saying, I hope Ty can throw with a 4.940 time. Oh, that's Crimson Convict. I love how he said that I shudder or I cringe every time he calls. I try to go to his first. I love you, man. I think you're great. I can't wait for the poetry.
I mean, he's not going to be Jalen Milroe out there, but do we remember the USF game when we've seen him run, Ty?
He can run. He's a lot faster when somebody's chasing him.
Aren't we all?
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact.
You just got to be faster than the other people you're with.
Here's a promising story for all those Gators out there, like Pelham Gator and Kelly and Vestavia. Even though sophomore quarterback DJ Lagway did not participate in last Saturday's first scrimmage of the preseason practice, Billy Napier said today that Lagway's doing great. I think he's on schedule. He's executing our plan. Lagway was injured a week before preseason camp began and has, in Napier's words, been modified thus far in practice. However, his workload has apparently steadily increased. Lagway previously did not throw during spring practice due to what Napier called a lower body injury. So according to Billy Napier, he had a great day at practice today. Think he had his best day today. He looks more comfortable in his reps than he's been taking. Obviously, he didn't participate in the scrimmage on Saturday, but he's hitting all the numbers from a throw perspective. The ball is coming out of his hand with more velocity than any time in his career. We're working on soft tissue with the calf, and we're going to execute our plan there. So he'll be modified for a while.
Man, I hope Lagway stays healthy just to see how good this Florida team can be. Because last year it was a drastic drop off. You see DJ Lagway, and not that the other guys were terrible, but what he meant to that team and the confidence that he instilled in that team when he was in the game and believing you're going to make that play no matter what. And I'm not trying to put any whatever you want to consider. When I envision this season, I don't see DJ Lagway playing every game. I don't see Diego Pavia playing every game. I don't know why.
What about Arch Manning? What are you feeling about his ligaments? Intact?
Yeah.
Okay.
But those are the two players in the SEC, and they might be healthy, and we're talking about injuries to Auburn and Alabama's quarterbacks. But those are the two players when I think about this season and kind of go 30,000-foot view that they will not be available for every game. Relatively speaking, who does that hurt worse, Florida or Vanderbilt?
Oh, I mean, I think without Pavia, Vanderbilt, I mean,
Yeah.
But Vanderbilt's backup quarterback's giving up women.
That's right, Blaze.
Right. That's right. He gave up women.
I don't know what the alternative
I
was to
didn't
giving
know.
up women.
More women.
More women. Or,
We're gonna have the worst thing I've seen with this guy 10 years from now. He's gonna marry a football.
Okay.
Which it could be worse.
Could marry a mannequin and have kids.
I was about to say,
We
they'll
got
have
other
those
people that we know that have taken up with inflatables.
I was about to say,
At
they'll
least a
have-
football would be.
They'll have the robots by then, I'm sure.
All right, more of your calls, your texts on this Reaction Monday. This is Jocks. 1251, your calls are welcome at 1-800-239-WJOX. Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. It's customary every Tuesday from 10 until 2. We'll be live at Social Taco in Homewood. Come by and see us, have an extended lunch. Come by and say hello, talk a little sports with us starting tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Text line is open. 205-834-9450. This question from one of our great listeners. Is there any chance that Ty is kind of in that the staff is kind of obligated to start him like Milrose seemed to be last year? That's Josh from Boaz.
What was the last part again?
That the staff feels obligated to start him like Milrose seemed to be last year.
I don't sense that at all. I think he's handled the playbook very well. He takes care of the football very well.
Larry from Homewood. Kickers. Just change the bubblegum flavor to watermelon. Did a kicker do that?
I don't know. Not familiar with that story.
Might need a follow-up text from you, Larry. We appreciate it. Drake says people wanted to fire Billy Napier. Now he has a top 15 program. Well, for right now. You're in John Wildner's top 5.
Top 6.
Top 6.
Landrum thinks DJ Lagway is going to be on one leg by the end of the year.
I did not say that.
It could be a shoulder.
If you're just tuning in. I said I see him as not being available for every game. That could be a lot of different things. Mine was health related.
Yes.
Mine was not legal or anything else.
No, because of what we saw from him last year. He got banged up a couple of times, and he's had a rough offseason.
Darren from Tennessee. Heard Kentucky was having snapping issues. Y'all know that Wolford is the offensive line coach. He was Bama's online coach when McLaughlin was having issues. Uh-oh.
I was about to say, did he transfer to Kentucky? But I guess he's in the NFL now.
He ended up okay after all the death threats.
Yeah, kind of funny how he got a change of scenery and didn't have those jitters anymore last year at Ohio State. Good
You
for
think
him.
he was throwing games?
Maybe so. I'm happy he got his championship. Good for him.
Someone not a fan of Ben Ingram, Braves play-by-play man. I think Ben does an outstanding job. Okay, potentially Conrad, a worst thing I've seen candidate. Text came in at 12:43.
Yeah, that's not a good situation in Baton Rouge right now.
Matt from Fayette, is there any chance Auburn goes to Deuce Night if Jackson Arnold struggles at all throughout the year? Yes, I believe so.
And you wouldn't say that Jackson Arnold is on a short leash or anything like that, but I think...
Well, now more than anything, I think you feel like if you're Hugh Freeze, while inexperienced, in Deuce Knight's case, he's more than capable athletically. And then with Ashton Daniels, he's a guy that started, you trust. I didn't realize how big Ashton Daniels was. It's a big dude.
He's got a good frame. And I would just think with Auburn, right, if Jackson Arnold, let's say he makes some of the same mistakes you saw last year, right, maybe having somebody that doesn't have that bad experience wouldn't be the worst thing in a quarterback.
Brant says, hey, guys, you see college football going to preseason games in the future. Y'all have a good day. If it means more money, a lot more money.
Well, you had Dion and Fran Brown wanted that this year.
But let's do them. Let's do them like games. Let's not have coaches out on the field. And if we're going to do it, let's do it like the NFL does it. Put real lines that people like Pat and others can bet on.
And play it in Canton, Ohio.
No, not Canton. We're playing them at Legion Field, football capital of the South.